Hey, what's going on, everyone? Dominic, the Primetime Treasure Hunter here. Recently I did a video called 10 Ways to List 10 Times Faster on eBay. If you didn't catch that video, I will link to it at the end of this one. And went through all the tips. And, it's one thing to know the tips. It's another thing to actually apply the tips. And sometimes people need a little bit of a motivational push, a motivational challenge. And that's what this video is all about, to help you as we move into 2021 and beyond. So you could use this at any time during the year. And that has to do with what we call listing challenges. Now, I'm going to explain what this means in a moment. I'm going to show you an example of it put to use, and I'm going to show you how this has helped out so many resellers in terms of getting a lot more things listed and also, importantly, making a lot more sales. So you could do a listing challenge all by yourself if you want to. The problem is it does require a lot of self-discipline, and that's one of the reasons that sometimes people need other people around them to partake in a listing challenge. So you could do them online, which we're going to talk about that in a moment. But you could also get together with a friend, a fellow reseller, or a couple of other resellers, and do this together over email if you want. I'm going to show you an example through Facebook in a group. But I know Facebook isn't necessarily for everybody, so I just want to make sure that I threw that out there. But a lot of people, but not everybody watching this, is a member of my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. I'm going to show you an example of one of the listing challenges that we did in the month of December, and we had done some in prior months. And based on the results, we're going to keep doing these in 2021. And I got to change it up a little bit each time. So let me share my screen with you, and you could see an example of how this all works if you've never seen one before. So let me just make this a little bit bigger for you so you can see it. So this is the group. The link to it is down below. So if you're not a member, join. It's free. None of this costs anything. Doesn't cost any money to join the group. It does not cost any money to partake in any one of these listing challenges. In fact, as I'm going to explain to you in a moment, you may very well make money from being in the group and taking part in these challenges. So there we go. Reselling Resource Center. You can see there we've got 23,000 members in the group at this point. And the group that, the challenge that I put together in the group in December was one based on the 12 days of Christmas. And so I figured just an interesting way to make it fun. And I timed it so it pretty much ended like the day before Christmas Eve or 2 days before that. So just to keep people motivated listing until Christmas came up. And so here's what the rules were, just so you could get a sense of how this one works. So it says 12 days of Christmas listing challenge. There's no better time to list than now. If that is not motivation enough, here is a Christmas themed listing challenge to keep you on track. The goal today, and this was just this particular day, is to list any one item, and this was on 12/8/20. And so just one item for that day. Now, the fun thing about this last challenge was that you could also add one bonus item if it was related to whatever the day of Christmas that it was. So that day it happened to be, partridge in a pear tree. So if you had anything that you could relate to a partridge or a pear tree, and you could be creative, we're not like super strict with it, as long as it's somewhat reasonably related, you could post that bonus listing as well after you've put up your main listing. Okay. So, and then I kind of give people an outline of what is going to take place during the course of the challenge. So you could see there on days 1, 2, and 3, people are going to get to put up one listing and then a bonus item. And then days 4, 5, and 6, it's 2 listings plus every day you get a bonus item. Days 7, 8, and 9, 3 listings plus a bonus item. And then days 10, 11, and 12, 4 listings plus a bonus item. So it's done that way on purpose to kind of get people into a flow, into a rhythm. We don't just start off with 4 listings. We kind of work people up so they're getting used to it. And like I said, getting into that flow. So this would be an example of something that many of you know, Beth Collins. She's in the live chats a lot. She's a very active member in the group. This would be an example of something she posted. So here's one of her listings, and that listing, it could be anything. It's very broad in terms of what your regular listing could be. She put up Stephen King VHS horror set, but then you could see her bonus item. She says this kind of looks like a partridge in a pear tree. And, there you go. You could see like a little bird there. It says Christmas wooden star with white bird ornament. And so that counts. That's flexible. That's within the rules of the challenge. And so that's what, she had put up on one of the days. So it just kind of went continuous like that until we got to the end. And the thing is, to keep people motivated to keep listing, is that you can't post in a subsequent day unless you posted in the day prior. So you can't just jump in the middle, because that's not fair to all the people who started it off from the very beginning. And if you missed it, or if you fall off, no worry. Some people will still try to maintain it themselves, or they'll just jump in whenever we do the next challenge. And that's one of the announcements I want to make here, is that I've decided, based on the responses you're going to see here in a moment, for people who have completed the challenge, and a lot of people completed the challenge, we're going to do one for every single month in 2021 in the group. Again, completely free for everybody. There's no cost involved at all. And in terms of making sales, people will make sales sometimes within the group. If you see something you like that another person put up, you may buy it, or someone else might buy from you. It's a group with that kind of culture. We have that Support That Seller Sunday event where people are, buying all from one particular person. And so, we have things like that go on all the time. So there's a big culture like that in the group. You might actually make sales just from listing something. But let me show you some examples. Now, everything you see here that's underlined is something I underlined, just to make the point of some key words that I found in some of the comments. And I'm just showing you a very small amount of comments that came in once the challenge was completed. And this is from the last challenge, but the comments were very similar on prior challenges once people completed them. So let me read some of these to you. Each one of these is from a different person. So it says, I made it. I have listed every day since the previous listing challenge started. So that's a good point right there. So the prior challenge, there's a little space. We don't just have, that it's continuous every single day of the year. There's some gaps. And so that getting that person jump started, which is so important when you're starting off a new year, help that person keep going until the next challenge started. So that's great. I love to hear that. Even the days between the challenges and on Sundays, awesome. Sorry. It has really helped keep me accountable to get things listed. Keep me accountable. That is so important. Even if you're not doing this within the Facebook group, because I know some people just aren't into Facebook, you don't want to have it. I'd love to do it on YouTube, but the problem is YouTube does not really want people dropping random links into the channel. So it can't really do it here. But having an accountability partner, even if it's outside of Facebook, could really help, or a group of people. But being in a group like this Facebook group is really cool, because you really just get to know people, and having just a whole group of people you're trying to keep up with helps keep you accountable. By doing the challenges, I'm starting to make daily listing a habit. So important. It helps keep you onto a routine. And even more important than that, you're trying to make sales, right? As a business, it's made a big difference in my sales too, I think. So this is great. I love to hear this type of stuff. Let's go to another person. I'm not putting names up because I just didn't have time to check with every single person to make sure they would be okay with me putting there, because it's a private group and I don't want to put people's names out there who I didn't think would be comfortable. Beth, I know, so I didn't I know that won't be an issue. But here's another person. I completed it and it motivated me. I'm so big on motivation and trying to motivate others that I'm glad to be able to do this and to see the impact it's having, especially when someone says, some days it was the last thing I wanted to do. So having that listing challenge really helped the person out. And I sold some of them. Again, I should have underlined sold for that one because that's important. We're trying to make people sales too, not just get up the listings, but the sales. So thank you, and please repeat it. So we will. Here's another one. It adds up quick. 30 listings I wouldn't have had otherwise. Now, I know the person who wrote this is watching this video. So if you want to comment and attribute one of these comments that I put in here to you, feel free to take ownership of it. But that's amazing. Think about that. 30 listings the person would not have had otherwise. I probably would have only listed 10 of those that were for sure Christmas and Santa themed. I know I can easily get back to 1 to 3 listings up a day, especially if they're all the same type of listings and all getting stored in the same place. Awesome. So that's great. Look at how many more listings you could get up with this. Here's another example. Look at this. Yes, please. I went from 15 items listed to 66 listed and 37 sold. I should have underlined the 37 sold. That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, keep in mind that you obviously, if you're going to take part in these challenges, I can't guarantee you sales. I can guarantee you listings if you take part in it, because obviously that's what you're doing is you're listing. The sales are going to come if you have, all your other best practices in place. We're going to assume that you're following best practices. If you have desirable items, things people want, priced properly, good pictures, titles, all that kind of stuff, keywords, descriptions, then getting the items up, that should be what's going to help you make the sales. They cannot sell if they are sitting around on the floor or on your shelf. Here's another 2 I squeezed into one frame here. Thank you for doing this. It kept me motivated to list. I'd love to do it again. Yep, I completed it and would love to do it again. Really kept me on track and doing listings. I normally list, but this made me put the extra effort forth. That's important. We talk about that a lot on this channel. You've got to put in the extra effort if you want to make things work. It's very easy to source stuff, but getting the stuff listed, this really helps you doing a motivational listing challenge. So thanks for doing it. Here's another one. Yes, please. I probably listed about 75 items during the challenge, most over the weekends, but still struggled a couple of times to make the daily listing requirement by the deadline. So that's the other thing too, is that you do have a deadline. You have to get the listing up by midnight, whatever your time zone is. So that's good because that adds a little pressure on there for you. And you've got to figure out a way, whatever you have going on the day that's a distraction, you got to figure out now a way to work around it. Whereas previously, if you weren't taking part in the listing challenge, you could just kind of let those things slide. But now you're not going to do that. You're going to find a way to do it. So we also probably sold about 30 items during the challenge, some soon after being listed. That is incredible. Remember, each one of these people is somebody totally different saying this every time. The challenges are definitely a motivator for me as we build our inventory up and dig through the piles waiting to be listed. Here's another one. I would love another challenge. I fell short a couple of days because of personal obligations, but when I was listing, I was getting sales almost daily. Love this. I love it too. This is awesome. This is just great. It's just great to see. Thank you for the challenge. It kept me listing even on busy days. The bonus challenge got me to go through my inventory and look at many of my older listings. It was a lot of fun. And that's another important thing, is that it makes it fun. You have to enjoy what you're doing. You've got to have a passion behind it. And if you have that fun, and then you've got, the motivator and the extra push there for you, it's really going to make it, an enjoyable activity for you. And especially when you start hearing those cha-chings, you're going to really love it. It's going to take some time. There's could be some boredom involved in listing. And so, again, this adds like a little twist to it, makes it fun. Here's another one. Yes, I completed it. made me accountable. Still have tons to go through. I also took 20 boxes, might be a typo there, to Goodwill during the challenge. Yes, 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 it's so motivating. These are different people. Thank you, Dom. It made me accountable to myself, which is the discipline I needed. Another key word there is the word discipline. Like I said, you could do it by yourself, but you have to really have a lot of self-discipline to be able to do that, because you don't have an external person or group holding you accountable. So that's why, you could do it with some friends on the side, and that could help, or one good, colleague who but if you really have the group, there's a power in a group. And so that's why I emphasize the group so much here. And so that is it with in terms of the slides. I really, could have put up a lot of other slides there as well. But I figured that was enough to make the point. And after one of the other challenges, we just do like a little recap when it's all over. And, again, the comments were very, very similar. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I also just want to make sure you understand how much this could help you. So January 1st, we are going to do a listing challenge in the group. And this listing challenge is going to take place every single day in January. So to complete it, you're going to have to go from January 1st all the way to January 31st. And I'm doing that for a reason, because I want people to, there's no month that's more important really than January, to get yourself propelled into the new year. So then, it carries you forth into February, March, April, May, months that could sometimes be slower depending on what it is you sell. So this could really help you. And I'm really looking forward to helping a lot of businesses out with this. So make sure that if you are not in the group, remember, it doesn't cost you anything. It's the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. The link to that is down below. That is separate from membership from this channel. If you're interested in that, there's also a link to that down below. But that's completely a separate thing. Okay, so this isn't going to cost anyone anything. Can't emphasize that enough, either to join the group or to take place in any of the challenges. So I just enjoy doing it and enjoy helping people out and seeing the positive results that a lot of people are getting. So if you did take part in one of the challenges, make sure that you comment down below. Let us know again there. So for people who aren't part of a group, they could see some of the positive experiences that you've had. And, give me some ideas also for other types of challenges you would like to see in subsequent months, because we're going to do one in February, we're doing March, April. Like someone put out the idea of doing one not based on the number of listings, but the amount of money per day in terms of how much the total cost of all your items come to. So that's another idea, but I like coming up with all little creative twists. So I could tell you it's going to be fun, it's going to be interesting, and it's going to help a lot of people out. So make sure you take part in it. Want to make sure everyone got a heads up on it. January 1st is when it starts. So with that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one, everyone. Take care.